Hi, everybody. This is Jackie Clenson, and this is my analysis of Trust the Algorithm or Your Gut, a case study analysis written by J.T. Polzer from 2018. Quick recap of the case. Here we have Aaliyah Jones, who has been charged to replace a marketing director in Bechter Berman International BBI's cleaning division. Two candidates have come to the fore, and they're both promising and they're both interested in the job. They're both internal, they're both qualified, they both interviewed pretty well, and they were both matches with the new people analytics system that the Human Resources Department is trying to promote. So the question remains, who should Aaliyah hire? So here we have the candidates in detail. The first is Molly Ashworth. She is a known entity. Aaliyah refers to her as a protege. She knows her professionally and personally. Molly has a lot of experience specifically in the cleaning division and a strong record of success there. Utilizing the new People's Analytics system, she is an 83% match to the job. She's also described as having a deep knowledge of the business, and during the interview, her warm and friendly manner was very apparent. On the other side, we have Ed Yu, who is described as a rising star in the beauty division. He came to the floor because of a 96% match by the new People Analytics system that was put into place. However, upon interviewing Ed, while he was okay, Aaliyah was, quote, not excited, unquote, at the prospect of his hire. But future data provided by HR and the data scientist showcase that Ed is very connected with other groups and divisions within the company outside of beauty, not as much as Molly is, and also he has a higher risk potential for leaving BBI as opposed to Molly. So really, when I'm looking at this particular case, what's striking me is that we have two different kind of promotion rationales in place. One that I'm calling the traditional promotion rationale, and one that is more analytics based. So in a traditional promotion rationale situation, usually the hiring managers are looking at the candidate's experience, if they have any previous knowledge of the candidate, and the candidate's interview performance. And those three things come together to create what people call the, quote, gut feeling as to whether the hiring manager thinks that the person in front of them is a good fit for the existing position. Now, the issue here is one of bias because it is a human being making a decision. Human beings are complex organisms, and even though they might try and remain unbiased or thinks they're unbiased, if they know the person, they might have a favorable or unfavorable bias against them. They might also maintain within them racial biases, gender biases, and a variety of other preconceived notions that come into play when they're trying to determine who's the best fit for a particular position that might get in the way of making really the best decision possible. So on the analytics side, we have machine learning and AI, which is fed data, and algorithms are applied to try and find good matches between existing data sets, people, and the particular position. So the intention here is to remove bias and also uncover potential candidates that the human beings might have thought might not particularly think would be a good fit for the position or just simply wouldn't have considered the person. So it's twofold, to remove bias and also to uncover more potential candidates. So at BBI, the data scientists recommended using analytics to inform the decision. HR seemed to be very strong with using it as a major choice decider. However, this data scientist was a little bit more reticent and kind of advised to use the analytics to help make a good decision as a part of the decision-making process and not the end-all be-all decision-making process. So there are two issues here. The first is the analytics system is still kind of brand new. It's been used a few times. I think it was 3 times, and it seems to be working and it seems to be pretty successful, but it's too new to really say. So it's quite untested. And issue number 2 is the idea of baked-in bias. If we don't really know how the algorithm is working, if we're unsure about the data that went into the machine learning process, we might suffer from what was happening at Amazon which was a AI breakdown. So here back in 2018, Amazon ended up ending their AI recruiting tool because what they found is that the data that they used for the machines to learn was very male-dominated data. And as a result, the AI would constantly recommend men because they were more in keeping with the data that was input into the system. So while the algorithm itself isn't biased, the data that was used to create the data set, the resulting data set, there was bias in that data originally. And so we have to be a little bit worried about that baked in biased, making sure that the data that we're using in the AI is appropriate. So I have two recommendations here. The first is just a general recommendation that in future, hiring managers shouldn't really try and jump to the individual that they think would be a good fit, but maybe sit down and think of the skill sets they need in a particular position. That might help them make a good decision. So in this case, does Aaliyah need a person who is very well experienced in cleaning, a person that would have a very small learning curve, a person that could hit the ground running and get immediately involved? If that's the case, then Molly's the obvious choice. Does Aaliyah instead want to maybe like disrupt a potentially stagnant division, bring in some new blood, new ideas, and maybe stir things up a little bit in order to increase creativity and innovation? In that case, Ed would be the obvious choice, in my opinion, for this particular position. But based on the case we have in front of me, I'm unsure exactly with what she's looking for in terms of hit the ground running versus disruption. So going with the information that we have, my feeling is that the traditional hiring practices definitely favor Molly. She's a known entity. Aaliyah likes her. She has a proven record of experience. What I also like about Molly in this case is that Aaliyah has tried to be very reflective about her potential bias during the process. Numerous times during the case, Aaliyah talks about making sure that she's giving Ed a fair shake and not being too favorable towards Molly. So data analytics are a new trend for HR decisions at BBI. So I agree with the data scientists that they shouldn't be used to make the decision. They should be used to inform the decision. And both candidates were good matches. Now, granted, Ed was a higher match than Molly, but Molly was still a very good match for the decision. Now, the piece of information where Ed might be considered a high flight risk, in my opinion, that piece of information should be put aside because there's really no way that machine learning or human intuition, I feel, can project this far into the future. Human lives are so variable that while this bit of data is interesting, I think it's a little too much of a reach to really use as part of the decision process. So if it were me, I would just simply put that piece of data aside. And you always want to think about the baked-in bias. It doesn't appear to have made much of an impact in this particular case, but it's always good to keep in the back of your mind. So based on all of these different criteria, my recommendation is to hire Molly. I think Aaliyah did a very good job of trying to remain unbiased, trying to hear both candidates, and really I feel Molly would be the best choice for this particular position. So thank you all. I hope you all have a good day. Bye.